Hello and welcome to the 2025 Bennetts British Superbike season preview. We're here with Mr. BSB Oracle himself, Michael Burton. He and I will be taking you through all the runners and riders ahead of what is going to be another extremely entertaining season. We've also got lots more information about becoming a Bike Social member and making the most of your VIP BSB experiences. Well, we're now joined by Bennetts BSB race director Stuart Higgs. Stuart, thanks for joining us. First day of term, well, sort of. Are you as excited as you have ever been? You've been in this paddock for a long, long time, right?
Yeah, this is like the 29th consecutive season of Bennetts British Superbikes in what we define as the modern era. Hey, we came off the back of probably the most sensational couple of laps in all motorsport, let alone motorcycle sport. You know, I'm tremendously satisfied with the lineup and the anticipation of what's going to be another memorable year.
We were just talking off camera about the depth of the grid. We've got big numbers, haven't we, this season? 5
British champions lining up. That's been as many champions as we've had on the grid ever. Riders up from other categories, coming up from Supersport into Superbike, Superstock into Superbike. It's fantastic. The fight now between different Yamaha teams. We've gone from a prospect of 2 recent champions, the most recent champion, Carl Ryde, and then Brad from a couple of years back in the same team was going to be a dynamic. Now it's kind of cleaner in some ways. It's a rivalry between teams, and that's really edgy. Everywhere you look, there's a story, and that's what is so unique about Bennetts BSB.
This year promises just as much excitement, but there are a couple of new sort of rules, regulations. I'm talking about tyres specifically. Talk a little bit more about this TNT deal, the television deal.
Previously, people could bounce around between something called the Pirelli SCX and the Pirelli SC0. The differences being one is softer than the other. There was some suggestion that the SC0 perhaps favoured more teams or bikes than others, so we went to Pirelli and said, look, what else have you got in the material selection? And it's still designating an SC0, but it has a slightly different construction. Doesn't make it like an SCX, but it sends it on that pathway. The other question there, Michael, on our TV platform, what we do have now is TNT as the absolute definitive home of bikes. They're showing everything, and I think that's great. We were able to announce recently live free-to-air on Quest, which is also part of the same network family. The free-to-air stuff's really important. A lot of people are asking about it. Round 1, Oulton Park, Bank Holiday Monday, May the 5th. It's 1 till 5. It's going to be live free-to-air on Quest. We've also got the Sunday sprint race at Donington Round 2, also live on Quest. So, you know, a lot of stigma with some of the headlines, but, you know, do your homework. You can get some good deals out there and see everything, and I think it's great for our sport that we've got a high-level broadcaster like TNT that is absolutely covering everything.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and good luck with the season ahead.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go and find out a little bit more about each of the runners and riders. So here we are on the final pre-season testing day ahead of the 2025 season. They've already tested at Navarra, Donington, and they had a day here yesterday at Oulton. But who's gone well? Who's pulling up trees?
For the last day or the last 2 days at Donington Park, probably Bradley Ray, really. Brad was quickest here yesterday, so the first day here at Oulton Park. He didn't test at Navarra, and neither did Kyle. But Glenn Irwin was probably the standout from the Spanish test, from the Navarra test. But there's been a few sort of, I wouldn't say randomers, but there's been a few odd names thrown at the top. So obviously Danny Kent's been up there. You've obviously had Josh Brooks up there. Nice to see Josh back up there. The names that you would fully expect to be up there have been up there. John McPhee as well, obviously coming into this series as a rookie. I don't know whether if you could really call John McPhee a rookie, but we are. He's been up there as well at Donington and also at Navarra. Not so much here. I think it's his first proper time at Oulton Park on a superbike. He's ridden around here on a GP 125 about 15 years ago. and it's his first time back here on a superbike. The main names that you would fully expect to see, obviously Bradley Ray coming back from World Superbike, back on a Yamaha, which he won in 2022 on. For me, those are the names that you're going to be looking at throughout the year.
Typical in BSB fashion, there's all sorts of people who have been bothering the top of the leaderboards in that case, and it just kind of goes to show that, again, that this season is already going to be a real tight battle. And it's not just about the same ride. Well, I mean, a lot of the riders are still with the same teams, and that's surely got to bode well for the likes of Tommy Brightwell and Glenn Irwin and even Carl Ryde.
Continuity, you know, as you know as well as I do, it's one of the best things that you can have in racing. Tommy's with the same team. It's a fresh bike. It's a 24 bike, but it is a completely fresh built Honda Fireblade for him. He has a different crew chief this year, so Chris Pike has moved into a different role within Honda Racing. And Tommy's got a new crew chief, so he's had to build a bit of a different relationship there. Obviously Kyle, he's got his completely same crew as what he had last year. Same for Glenn, same for a lot of people really across the board, other than the new riders that have obviously stepped in, or people that have moved from a different team into a new team. Before
we go down the pit lane and talk about each rider and team individually, just tell us a little bit about the sort of the upheaval, let's call it, at OMG Racing, because they were all set to go to Navarra, weren't they? They'd posted on Instagram, yes, we're good to go, we're here, see us in Navarra, and then all of a sudden they weren't there.
I think it took everybody by surprise. I think Bennetts got told the news probably 20 minutes before it came out. I believe Carl Ryde got told the news 2 hours before it was being announced. Basically, as far as I'm aware, and it's probably the rest of everybody else, is that OMG had a title sponsor on board for this year, who was basically covering the operating budget, so fuel, tyres, etc., that kind of thing. And at the last minute, they pulled out. Alan Gardner's recently done a podcast to explain it all. It's the latest Chasing the Racing, so if no one's heard that and they want to go and listen. It's quite interesting. But basically, that left Kyle, Brad, and Joe Talbot without a ride. He told them, we literally cannot run. So at that point, I think Stuart got on the phone. Stuart's worked wonders to try and get these guys back, in the championship. It would have been completely unfair for the defending champion to not have a ride. So obviously, Kyle Ryde without a ride. Kyle has now got a ride. He's in the same team. They've got a new title sponsor on board, which is Nitrous Competitions, and I think basically their budget was only for one person. They could only run one person, which is Kyle. Bradley Ray then moves to Raceways Yamaha, so Raceways have stepped up after leaving the championship in 2022, I think. That was their last year, maybe 2000, I think it was it 23? I can't remember. One of the others, a while ago. Steve Rogers has now stepped back into the championship. Basically, that bike that Brad is on would have been his OMG bike for this year. So basically, Alan has either lent the bike to Raceways for the year, or Raceways have bought the bike, one of the others. So it's still Bradley Ray's bike for what he did a little bit of work on sort of pre-Christmas and pre-New Year.
So we're going to have a look at them.
Why not?
Go on then. Bertie, where better to start than the reigning champion, Kyle Ryde is, same team, new name, right? OMG Nitrous Competitions.
Yeah, that's the one. So obviously we just mentioned it just before the start of the session with everything that happened before the start of the season. But yeah, OMG Nitrous Competitions Racing. So it's a one-man team this year with just Kyle in there. Kyle's got his same crew, same bike from last year. All the focus is around Kyle this year. He's obviously running the number one plate as well. Just probably the biggest note or biggest difference that you'll see on the bike just in there is probably the swing arm. It's just slightly different swing arm, but the same one that Brad's running this year as well at Raceways. Defending champion is the man that everybody wants to be. He's got the biggest target on his back. He's got the number one plate on. He's done a lot of riding over winter on his practice R6 in Spain. Did a little bit of testing pre-Christmas, and there you can see just coming out in his factory new Wicks on leathers. So yeah, probably for me one of the men to beat this year, biggest target on his back, and I hope he has a good season.
How do you think he'll cope being a one-man team? Of course, he's prepped all winter for being part of a three-man squad. Do you think it'll bother him?
Yeah, I don't think it'll bother him at all. Absolutely not. He's very focused on himself. I played golf with him a couple of times. He knows exactly what he wants from a race team. He knows exactly what he needs. He focuses on himself on a race weekend anyway. If he had 5 teammates or or one teammate. It doesn't matter. It's all about him for Kyle, really. So for me, yeah, it makes no difference.
You caught up with him a little bit earlier today. Shall we see what he had to say?
So, Kyle, not an ideal start to your championship defending campaign, but just talk us through it. Obviously, without a ride, now you've got a ride, back on the grid. Obviously, 2025 is the year that you're going to defend the title.
Yeah, a great winter in Spain, riding my own bikes, my R6, a lot of fun, a bit of coaching, and obviously with Paul and Alan, I've always never worried, ever. But shit happens, and it was what it was, and I asked Alan if he was okay, and that was the main thing. As long as everyone was all right, we're all safe. The motorbikes will get put together. If you crash them, they'll get put together. But our feelings was obviously distraught, and it was only a few weeks before going to Spain. So yeah, it was tough period, but we've come out of it on a good side. I've still got my same crew, same mechanics, same team, same bike, everything. Just a completely different colour. Thanking Nitrous Competitions for the opportunity to come on board and save my defending the title for 2025.
Was there at any point you were worried after that phone call, or were you planning on becoming a professional golfer, I'm guessing?
Well, there was going to be a lot more golf to take my mind off it, but lucky for me, I beat Tommy by 1 point last year, and I think BSB kind of, they need me here, don't they? So, and I want to be here as well. It's not that they need me here, I want to be here, and I want to defend the title that I've worked so hard for. So yeah, like I said, thanks to Nitrous Competitions, thanks to Paul, thanks to Alan, thanks to BSB, everyone that's made this possible. And yeah, we've not done as many days as what the other boys have, but luckily I'm on the same bike from last year, and every test I've been in every day I've been in the top 5, so I'm doing okay. The new tyres for a bit of a spanner in the works with a few things, but yeah, we're doing all right, enjoying it, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, just quickly before we let you go, before you get out on the bike, just talk us through the new tyre. A lot of people are saying it's really difficult on old rubber or used tyres. Just how much of a difference has that made, and will it make coming into this year? Yeah,
I mean, Donington was the first time I used it, and like I said, you do a pit stop, you go out, and it's knackered, don't work. But Donington's very, very abrasive, very grippy, and it didn't like it at all. So for Donington, I don't think it was positive, but the grip was there for 1 lap. Coming here, it's a lot better. I'm actually the opposite. I feel better when the tyre's done 15 laps, so I wasn't expecting it. I'm just struggling with new tyres. It's a big jump in grip, and I'm struggling to set up the bike. Yesterday, I went faster on old tyres than what I did new, and people like Brad went a full second faster on new tyres. So yeah, we're looking good on old tyres. I'm not worried about that. The races are long. I think I can keep the tyre for 20 laps. It's just qualifying well. Obviously, you can't be qualifying 9th and winning a race. So got some work to do.
Well, Kyle, we'll let you get back in there, and we'll let you get back onto the track this afternoon. Good luck for 2025.
We're outside the Hager PBM Ducati garage, but here we've got, well, we haven't got Glenn Irwin there at the moment because he's on circuit, but the Northern Irishman finished 3rd in the championship last year. He's always a contender, isn't he?
I think I said in the season preview last year that if Glenn doesn't win the title this year, as in last year, there was something wrong. I think consistency was Glenn's problem last year at times. You know, I think he had 9 wins throughout the year, but he was only on the podium twice, 1 second, 1 third. Whereas if you look sort of next door at Tommy was consistently on the podium. Didn't win a right lot of races, but he was consistently 2nd, 3rd, 4th, picking up, bagging points. I know these guys last year had a couple of technical issues, which they've ironed out for this year. I believe it was a little bit of an issue outside of the team's control, really. I believe it was a part that was externally sourced. So they've now sorted that issue out for this year. Glenn, sole rider team, sole man in there. The sole focus is on him, and you know, as pre-season testing has gone and shown so far, from Navarra to Donington and to here, he's on the pace straight away. You know, he knows this Ducati, he loves this Ducati. I think he signed a 2-year deal the sort of middle of last year, so he's got this year and next year with this team as well. But you'd be foolish to write Glenn off this year, if you ask me, in my opinion.
It's the same every year, isn't it? I think he's always going to be a very, very strong contender. Have there been any changes to his bike?
Not a right load of changes. I know there's been 2 bikes in there, so he's been trying it back to back in 2 different bikes. From what I can gather, he seems to favour one over the others, one over the other. But no, not a right lot of changes. Obviously, you know yourself as well as I know, the V4R, I believe it's its last year of its current infancy. I believe there is a new one as of next year, so hence the 2-year deal. I think the biggest difference, as we've spoken to a couple of riders already, is going to be the tyres, as to how much of a difference the tyre makes to how the package works. But as you've seen so far from testing, doesn't seem to have made a right difference to Glenn. I'm sure we'll find out during the season. We'll probably catch up with him at some point during the season as well to see how he's going.
He'll manhandle anything, won't he? Yes. Good stuff. Let's move on. Bertie, we're outside the garages now of the Honda Racing UK setup, and same riders, aren't they, as last year?
Yeah, exactly the same riders, unchanged lineup. Obviously, last year was probably one of the best seasons that Honda Racing have had for a number of years, really, especially coming off the back of 2023, where they had a nightmare season. That they weren't on the podium, they were nowhere really within the year. So to come from that to finish 1 point off winning the championship. Obviously, everybody remembers that incredible final round, incredible final race at Brands, where it was between Tommy and Kyle for the championship. And Tommy's staying where he is. He's obviously got the number 46 back on the bike. Like we mentioned earlier, different crew chief for this year. So Chris Pike has moved into a different role within Honda Racing UK, and he's now Tommy's now got a new crew chief. So he's just had to obviously do a little bit of relationship building with him, and it's just all taken a little bit of time, I think, for it to click for Tommy. Obviously, the new tyre this year, so it's just making it a little bit difficult for some teams just to get used to it. I think maybe it might have made a bit more of a difference for Tommy, but it's the same for everybody else. But let's be fair, you can't write Tommy off, and to be brutally honest, I don't think you can write Andrew off either. You know, he's come off the back of a couple of really tricky seasons, but towards the end of last year, certainly Donington and Brands at the end of the year, he was right up at the sharp end. He was battling for podiums. I think he did get a podium towards the end of the season, and as Harv alluded to earlier when we spoke to him, Andrew's now got over his injury that he sustained back in 2023. So everything is all rosy for Honda Racing this year.
Incredibly slickly run team. Now, you mentioned talking to Harv. Should we cut to the Harv interview?
Why not? So Harv, thank you for joining us. 2025 Bennetts BSB season. Obviously 2 superbikes, 2 supersports for this year. So close to winning the title last year, losing out by 1 point. Just talk us through what your winter preparations have been and how much you're looking forward to this season.
First of all, finishing off last year, what a result at Brands Hatch. Look at the crowd, look at the atmosphere for that last race. It was immense. And fair play to everybody involved. It's great to be part of that. Missing out by 1 point, of course, it's always a bitter pill to swallow, but for sure you want to come back fighting stronger and better ever for 2025. Tommy, Andrew, been testing quite a bit. We've done quite a bit of mileage on the bike. Obviously we've got a few curveballs with new tyres and grip and so on. Weather conditions out in Spain, coming here to the UK. Donington wasn't ideal for us. Oulton Park here, day 2. Nice weather conditions, so a lot to work for. Tommy, focused as ever, determined as ever, wants that number 1 plate back. Andrew, progressing, developing. Last year was a tough year for him after his injury. Let's put that behind us and focus on what we can achieve this year, chasing the podiums. You look at the Supersport team, multiple British champion, Jack Kennedy. Lovely lad, great lad to work with, doing a great job on the bike, helping us develop the CBR 600. And off the back of that, bringing Dean into the Supersport Championship for a consistent year in there with us, having the target that we want to run this at the Northwest and the TT. And so far, things are going well. It's not always plain sailing. Look at the number of riders out there today in the group. It's very difficult for them to get a strong, clear lap, but that's the same for everybody. We've got a big team. Look at the amount of personnel we have here. So we've got a lot on.
If we just look at the 2 superbikes for the moment.
Yep.
how much have they changed from last year? Is there any big changes mechanically from the 24 bike to this year?
Without giving too much away, there's lots of little areas that we're working on, from electronics, that side of things, if you like, that we just want to improve on our weaknesses from last year and try and strengthen the Fireblade. I'm lucky that this year we've got a lot of other Fireblades in the championship. We've put a base package together with some base Motec settings, if you like, to give everybody a leg up to where we are and what we're doing. And we're wanting to improve and better in those areas. And now, chassis setup, electronics, engine, performance, everything else are all areas we're working on.
Perfect. Well, Harv, we better let you get back to it. I know you've got a busy job on, but thank you very much for your time and good luck in 2025.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bertie, we're outside the garage of McAMS Racing. A familiar team now, isn't it, this one? They've been in the paddock for a while. In fact, I always think of Danny Kent as being a bit of a young and up-and-comer, but of course he's very, very, very experienced these days.
Yeah, very experienced. I think a lot of people might forget Danny is a world champion as well. Danny is a Moto3 world champion. Yeah. I think that makes me and you feel very old. But yeah, so Danny unchanged in the McAMS Racing team this year. So it's McAMS Racing by Martrain Yamaha, basically. So people will know Martrain from a long time ago. They've been Super Sport, and then I think this is now their third year in Superbike. So obviously they had Jack Kennedy a couple of years ago for a season. Then they had Danny for last season, and then this season. Last year was a good year for Danny, real good solid season. Only had one win during the year, which was at the last round of Brands, but he showed flashes of promise all the way throughout the year. Finished fourth in the standings. A really good season for Danny. Obviously he's a sole rider in that team. All the sole focus is on him. Got a really experienced crew chief in Chris Anderson, and obviously a bit of backing from Yamaha as well, which is great to see.
You used the word consistency earlier on, and so again we're ticking all the consistency boxes with sort of the team setup, but also as you say, fourth in the championship because he got a lot of allocated a lot of points, obviously, but because he didn't have crashes or breakdowns necessarily, it was so he's coming. What I'm saying is he's coming into this season with that consistency to hopefully move up the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think all Danny really needs is I think he was just sort of the best of the rest, if you know what I mean. So you always had Glenn, Tommy, Kyle, Ryan, Vickers when he was here, up there in the top four. Danny was just the best of the rest, and at times you just wanted him. You were always sitting there going, come on, just make that little extra step, and he just didn't really make that until the end of the year, where it just sort of clicked into place. And obviously that first race win at Brands Hatch, in the wet obviously, but it was there, and he was really dominant in that race. So I think now he's got that monkey off his back. It was a big monkey for me, and I think even Danny said it as well. So now that monkey's gone, he's kind of free, and he feels free to go and just ride this bike as he knows he can. And like we just mentioned there, he's no mug. He's a world champion in a packed, stacked field of quality. I can imagine you'll see Danny up there all the way throughout the season.
And he's performed very well in pre-season testing, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He really has. I mean, all the Yamahas have really. Kyle, Brad, and Danny. And for me, like I say, you just want that little bit of extra from Danny, and I think you're going to get that this year. I think he's really got the bit between his teeth now. Now he's got that race win off his back. Now he's had those podiums. Now he's shown that he can do it in this series. He's not just here just to make up the numbers. I think you will see Danny really battling for wins and battling for the championship.
You mentioned Brad. Let's go and he's in the next garage. So Bradley Ray is with Raceways Yamaha. That's not something that we were talking about 2 weeks ago, was it? We've alluded to it already about the changes in the OMG shenanigans from pre-season, but it's nice to have Raceways back, isn't it? Well, with a superbike, I know they were going to be here anyway, weren't they?
Yeah, obviously Steve was a stalwart of the paddock for a number of years, probably 20 years before he retired a couple of years ago. And obviously with the the word shenanigans that went on at OMG, they've stepped up to come in and help out. Obviously, as you can see behind us, they don't have a right lot at the minute. They've only just got a truck, they've got no garage boarding, they've not got a right lot, so they're really starting from scratch at a very, very short time, but so far so good. They've come in. Bradley's hit the ground running. We knew he would do. An ex-champion, World Superbike rider for the last 2 years on the Yamaha. He's familiar to the Yamaha. I think this is probably his 5th or 6th year now on the Yamaha, so he's not, it's not unusual to him. It's just taken a little bit of time just to get back up to speed on the British tracks. You know as well as I do, these tracks are completely different to what the World Superbike tracks are, other than Donington Park, obviously. But yeah, for me, it's great to see Brad back. He's such a character, so it's great to see him back. Great to see him with the Raceways team as well.
A fan favourite, and he was going very, very well yesterday here.
Yeah, incredibly well. He's hit the ground running on that bike, as he alluded to earlier, which we'll cut to in a minute when we spoke to him. He found it easier to step back onto a BSB bike from a World Superbike than it was obviously going from a BSB to a World Superbike. So it's not taking him a long time to hit the ground running. We knew it wouldn't do. It's the bike that he's got in there is the OMG bike that he would have had this year. Basically, what's happened is obviously Raceways didn't have enough time to build a Superbike for him, so OMG have given the Superbike across. They've basically just moved it from one garage into another. Brad's riding that, so he's had a little bit of time on it pre-Christmas out in Spain, and then obviously jumping into the Donington test and the Oulton test, because obviously 2 days before the Navarra test, OMG said that they weren't going and they weren't going to be here at all. So it's great to see. And for me, firm favourite for the championship. I don't think you can write Brad off at your peril, because he's right up there. And like you said, yesterday he was quick. I think he was 0.7 quicker than anyone. He was under the lap record. It's not taking him long to get back, to get used to riding a BSB bike again.
Yeah, pretty incredible to see how quick he is. Again, with all of those disturbances pre-season, and the fact that he's been out of this championship for 2 years, it's remarkable to see him performing so well. Now, you caught up with him slightly earlier. Let's cut to that.
So, Brad, welcome back to Bennetts BSB. Not an ideal off-season, shall we say. Obviously, you signed a contract with OMG. That didn't materialise. Now you're with the Raceways team. First of all, talk us through it all, but then also how you finding being back on a BSB bike.
Yeah, it was obviously a tricky couple of weeks when everything happened with the OMG team. For me, it was obviously, I was clear, we was off testing a few days, and the team pulled out, and that late on in the season it's difficult. Obviously, I was looking forward to coming back to the same team with Yamaha and the same crew to be competitive again. It was a strange couple of weeks, and then Steve and Yamaha UK come together and put this team together last minute to get me on the grid. And honestly, I feel really good. I feel happy in this team, and the bike's unbelievable, and it's nice to come back and be competitive.
How much have you had to adapt coming off a World Superbike back onto a BSB bike? Obviously, it's the same bike, it's an R1, but it's completely different, isn't it? It's polar opposites from what you've been riding for the last 2 years in Worlds.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a strange transition. I went to test the bike December last year just to get a run out. But honestly, it's actually easier coming back from World Superbikes to BSB, in my opinion. And obviously coming back to a bike I know anyway made it a lot easier. But I took my time at Donington to understand the electronics again on the BSB spec bike, and then obviously felt quite good yesterday around Oulton Park. So it hasn't been as bad as what I thought it would be. But yeah, feeling comfortable. We made some good changes, and I feel back to how I should be.
I bet you can't wait for round one. Obviously, loads of people, as soon as it was announced that you were coming back to BSB, social media sort of went viral with the amount of people that were buzzing to see you back. I bet you can't wait to see the fans at round one here at Oulton Park on Bank Holiday weekend.
Super excited. I mean, it's nice to be back. I love the BSB fans, I love the BSB tracks, and to roll out Oulton Park next weekend for the first round would be really nice, and just to be happy again and feel happy in the team and be competitive. That's the most important thing. So we just got to keep working like we are, and look forward to the first race next weekend.
Well, Brad, thanks very much for your time. Good luck in 2025.
talking of BSB stalwarts and combatants, we have a certain El Haslam and his Motor Rapido Ducati.
Yes, so Leon's changed teams for this year. So obviously the last couple of years he's run his own outfit with BMW. This year he's moved to the Motor Rapido Ducati squad. But yeah, Leon looking really, really strong this year. First time he's been on a Ducati since I think about 2007, I want to say. 2006, 2007-ish. So that's his first time back on a Ducati since then. He seems to be really enjoying it. When I spoke to him at Donington, got a big smile on his face, really, really happy. Loves the environment of the team, just gelling with it straight away. And to be honest, a bit of a dark horse for me. I would imagine that we'll see Leon up there a lot of the time this year. He's fully fit. He came into last year with a bit of an injury. The year before, again, with a bit of an injury. Obviously, running his own team, he had a lot of stress on, everything else like that. That's now all gone. That's now all left. He's now just literally focusing on riding that Ducati V4R. He's got a lot of data as well from the last few seasons with Christian and Tommy before that. And this team they're no mugs. They know what they're doing. So to be honest, it would not surprise me if you see him up there right all the way through the season.
Experienced team, experienced rider, it's the ideal combination. But I think you made a really good point actually about Leon having a less pressure on him now that he's not running his own outfit.
Yeah, literally, there's no pressure on him. He's not thinking about everything. He's not thinking about what food's going into hospitality. He's not thinking about, is the bike ready? Is it, he's literally just focusing on himself, focusing on his own fitness, his own riding, and what he can do throughout the season. He's no mug. He's been there. He's done it before. He's an ex-British champion on the Kawasaki. So for me, one to watch. And I would honestly be very, very surprised if you don't see him within the top three at the end of the year.
Ducati's just walked behind the camera, Carl Fogarty.
Yeah, I was just looking there. He nearly walked into our cameraman, so luckily he didn't. If anybody missed the announcement, Carl is running his own team from 2026, a Ducati team. Quite exciting. Nice to see a new team coming in. Really exciting to see Carl fronting that team as well. Who's going to be riding it? We know what bikes they're going to be on. Who's going to be riding it? We've got no clue, no idea. Mega to see a new team coming in, especially in the current economic climate that we all know that we're in at the moment. It's really difficult. So to see that is brilliant. And fresh team, fresh faces, and obviously another Ducati on the grid. So it makes it even louder for everybody.
Good stuff. Let's move on. This is the MasterMac Honda team. We've got Charlie Nesbitt.
Yep.
And another young gun, well not that young, but very experienced gun in John McPhee.
Yeah, he's young for you, he's younger than you. Same age as me, but yeah, so John McPhee moves into British Superbike for the first time this year, so it's his rookie season. Like I alluded to earlier, it's incredible to be calling John McPhee a rookie. He's been around for a very, very, very long time, but it's his first full season in British Superbike. Joins the MasterMac Honda team. It's Hawk Racing, everybody will know it as, and like you say, they've still got Charlie Nesbitt in there. So last year, a really good season for the team, really, to be fair. They moved on to the Honda, and it just took a little bit of time just to get used to it. I think obviously they got the new bike midway through the year, but then you saw real flashes of brilliance. So at Cadwell, both Lee Jackson, who was racing for them at the time, and also Charlie got on the podium. Charlie was really quick. You see flashes of brilliance from Charlie, and then he just drops off, and it's a bit quite peaky and troughy with him, but this year just seems to be consistent. He's in the top 7, top 8 during testing, which is really nice to see, as he just leaves the garage now. So yeah, hopefully this year you'll see a lot more from Charlie. I would like to hope that you would see a lot more from him. John McPhee, who knows? It's his rookie season. It's his first time on a superbike. He's never ridden a superbike until this year. He's been doing a lot of practice over the winter with a stock bike that he's had from the team out in Spain. But so far so good, really, from John. It's nice to have a new, fresh face in the championship. And it would not surprise me if he's up there. Top 5, top 6. He's no mug on a bike. Moto3 Grand Prix winner. They don't. To quote a Shane Byrne phrase, they don't come on the back of Kellogg's cornflakes packets, do they? So, it would not surprise me if he's up there, but we keep saying that. This field is stacked full of talent this year.
As usual, as it is every year. Yeah. And then when we get to our title predictions later on in the show, it'll be just...
I've not even thought about that just yet.
Chuck all the names in the air and see which one lands in your hand.
Yeah.
Good stuff, let's move on. So this is the AJN Steelstock Kawasaki team, known as FS3, right?
Yeah, basically that's how everybody else will know it. Yeah, so what was the FS3 Kawasaki team last year? AJN Steelstock have now got the title sponsorship with these guys. So running Max Cook, who was here last year, who's on the, I think this is now his 3rd season with the team in the superbike class, and they've also got Christian Hidden. So Christian moves from the Motor Rapido Ducati team into here, replacing Jason O'Halloran, who's just gone to World Endurance with Yart. I don't really want to be speaking out of turn, but this Kawasaki is it's long in the tooth now. It's been a long time without a real major upgrade in terms of engine or anything like that. It's been just faceless really, hasn't it, over the years? So it'll be interesting to see how these guys get on. Obviously Max has had 3 years of testing with this bike, 3 years of experience with it. I think you just want to see now Max make that next step. Obviously he got podium a couple of years ago, just needs to start increasing the level of what everybody knows he can do. Christian's Christian, he'd be a fool again to write him off. He knows how to ride a bike, he's no mug. He's tested loads of different bikes, he knows how he needs a motorcycle to feel. Gone pretty well in testing, just still getting used to it. They didn't go to Navarra, they did 2 days out in Andalusia, and then they went straight to Donington and then to here as well. So they've had plenty of time under their belts, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you see Christian up there straight away. He knows what he's doing, and same with Max, he's learning off of Christian as much as I think Christian's learning off of Max as well. Yeah,
experienced enough on the bike now, Max, like you say, and one of those sort of up and coming talents, but it'll get to a stage at some point where he should be producing, right?
Yeah, and I think he had that flash of brilliance at Thruxton a couple of years ago, and then everybody expected him to move on. I would imagine this year he's got a new teammate in there who's helping him. He's done a lot of pre-season riding with him, been to Spain a lot with him. They get on really well. They are good mates. So for me, I would like to see Max progressing consistently top 8. He's got to be in that top 8 come towards the middle of the season to be pushing for a showdown spot. And yeah, same for Christian really.
One of the most professional racers there is in the paddock, isn't he, Christian? I mean, he's been around for a long time, but he goes about his racing in a very particular and very methodical way.
Oh yeah, incredible. Yeah, he's so methodical, but he's so fit as well. Like, he's literally the fittest on this grid. So for me, he is one to watch. I wouldn't call him a dark horse, but he's definitely one to watch for this year as he just pulls in after that session.
Skims my car.
Skims your backside.
Be interesting to see how he gets on with the Kawasaki in inline 4 versus. He's had a few seasons on Ducatis, hasn't he?
Well, when he left PBM, he then went to Suzuki with the Hawk guy, so he had a year there. Then he went obviously to Motor Rapido for 2 years. So he's now back on an inline 4. He's used to those bikes, he's no mug, he's had loads of experience on loads of different bikes. Yeah, hopefully this year you see the best of Christian. Obviously last year wasn't the best of years for him. He classes his best victory or his best biking moment as Knock Hill last year. That was probably his best performance of the season, but hopefully this year you see that.
Let's move on. Bertie, there's no FHO racing this year, but the remnants of the team are still here, right?
Yeah, correct, more or less. Basically, if you look at it this way, it's FHO racing without the FHO. It's the same team, near enough the same bikes, the brand new bikes. We'll try and grab Davey in a minute,
and it's called 810 Racing.
It is, yeah. It's called 810 Racing now.
What's that reference to? Do you know?
The numbers that they have on the roads. So Davey runs number 8, Pete runs number 10 on the roads. It's their own team, so it's owned basically by Davey and by Pete. So what happened, if people aren't aware, there was going to be a few changes within the inner workings of FHO. Pete and Davey didn't actually sign contracts with FHO. They were agreed to ride for them, ride for Faye when the announcement was made, but no pen had been put onto paper. So they were just asking questions about who was going to be running the team, who was going to be part of the team, etc., etc. And it just all kind of started to just break away a little bit. So instead of Pete and Davey going to run for other teams or ride for other teams, they said, well, let's just do it ourselves. I don't think there's ever been a team in BSB that has been owned by the riders. I don't think there's ever been anything like that, or like this as it's going to be. So yeah, it's really exciting, it's really nice to see, but they are running very, very late. All of this got announced in February, which is 2 months ago. And as we're standing here now, that is the first time you've seen an 810 Racing Superbike. And it's an FHO then. That literally rolled out of the workshop in Louth yesterday and got brought here this morning for Davey to spin some laps on. Pete's bike isn't ready yet. That's not ready. That should be ready for round 1. So the first time Pete will swing his leg around it or over it will be at round 1 in a couple of weeks.
Is that the reason why he's not
I
here?
believe so, yeah, I believe so. I mean, we'll try and grab Davey if we can, if that's all right. He's on his way over.
Let me pass you the mic,
Grab
Davey.
the mic. Davey, thank you very much for joining us. I know you've got a lot of work on today, but first time swinging your leg over that 810 Racing Superbike, massive smile on your face because you know how much work's gone into this, but just talk us through it because it's been a busy last couple of months, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, honestly, it's been an absolute mental last couple of months for all of our team, all the 810 Racing team, and I can only give it up to the guys. I can't give it up to them enough. Like how much work they've done in the last couple of months to make this happen. I'd love to be taking credit for it, but it's really not down to me. Peter's been doing a ton of work, Daz, and all the boys in the team have just done a fantastic job at pulling this together. What's extremely last minute for trying to start up a new team, and yeah, I'm just over the moon. First time out on the bike today, and it's nice to finally get out on it. And honestly, I'm just buzzing. Just getting through a few teething issues, but the bike feels really good already. So I'm honestly over the moon and just can't wait to spin more laps on it.
How did it feel, obviously, because you said the amount of work that's gone into it from everybody behind the scenes, just how did it feel running out there? Did it feel more or less how you expected it to be? Have you got any big changes to make, or is it just nice and easy for you?
To be honest, it feels miles better than expected, because I love the stock bike. The stock bike's fantastic, so I've been riding that the past couple of years and honestly love the thing. So I expected to get on the super bike and go, look, it's a learning curve, it's going to be different. I'm going to perhaps struggle a little bit. And honestly, I got on it there and it felt like my own bike. It feels extremely different. The whole feeling of the bike is totally different, but good, like really good. So yeah, as I say, just a few small teething issues, which is why we're here today, to be honest. It's not to test, it's not to set lap times, it's to get these little teething issues out the way before round 1. We're still going to be learning. We're going to be learning at round 1, round 2. To perhaps still well after the TT, we're going to be learning as we go with this new 25 bike. But as I said, my initial feeling's really good, and yeah, I can't wait to improve some more on it.
Perfect. Well, we better let you get back because I'm pretty sure you've got a lot of work to do this afternoon. Davey, it's nice to see. Great to see you back out on the Superbike. Good luck in 2025.
Thank you, mate.
No
Cheers.
worries. Good luck this afternoon.
There we are, and those boys are going to be racing at the TT on the Northwest as well.
Yeah, Northwest. So literally, they'll go. They've got, I think, well, obviously one more week back in the workshop. They come straight here then for round 1. The bikes will then get loaded in the back of the truck, and it will go straight from here straight to the Northwest. Like they've got no time. They've got no time to go testing or anything, and it really is late in the day. But they've pulled it all together. They've made it work, and fair play to them, because I know how difficult it is at times for teams to build superbikes. So for them to get a superbike built within a couple of months really is really, really impressive. So yeah, it's great to see, and hopefully they have a great season.
Good stuff. Let's move on. Bertie, we're with your boys here at Tag Racing.
Yeah, so we're completely unchanged lineup again for this year for the Tag Boys. So Fraser Rogers is back. Jamie Van Skelrus moves from the Pathway class into the full superbike class this year, so he's on a full superbike. And obviously they've got 2 super stock bikes in there as well, so they've got Sean Winfield and Matt Truelove in there as well.
Big setup, isn't it? And retaining Hondas as well is a good thing.
Yeah. So obviously they moved to Honda probably 4 years ago now, maybe, and they've just slowly been building on that really from there. Fraser last year had a really solid start to the season, looked really, really good. Had a good start to Navarra, made a bit of a mess of it in the last race and sent it through the gravel trap, made a big mess of it. And then mid-season made a mess of himself. He had a big motocross accident, broke both of his legs. And basically the team just said, look, just forget it. Let's just write this year off. Get your fitness back up to standard, get your legs back up to standard, and we'll start again. And it started really strongly. They had a good Navarra, they had a pretty decent Donington. He had a small crash at Donington down Crater Curves, for me, Fraser is probably one to watch this year. And also, like I say, Jamie Van Kelrus moving into the full superbike class, a big learning curve for Jamie. He had a few injuries. His season last year was plagued through injury, so he had an issue with both of his knees. Seems to be fully fit now, which is great. He's been doing a lot of enduro riding in the winter, but a big learning curve in there. So he's got a crew chief, Aaron Zanotti. So people remember Aaron from years ago, former BSB racer. He was Storm Stacey's crew chief last year, so he knows what he's talking about. Really good on the data side of things. So yeah, hopefully this year you'll see the yellow bikes up the front. You know as well as I do, I would love to see the yellow bikes up the front. I've got a soft spot for these guys. So yeah, hopefully we'll see that, especially Fraser, because I think Fraser deserves to have a good season this year.
Thank you, Dr. Burton, for your medical updates. Fraser's quick, isn't he? We know that.
Massively.
He's shown it in sort of flashes and stages before. He's now getting to grips with the sort of the superbike class. He's been in and around this paddock for a long enough time now. He knows the circuits. Now is the time, right?
He knows the circuits. He's quick enough. You know, the kid's no mug. He's been in, Moto 3, he's done Moto 2 wildcards. Just whenever he seems to have made a bit of a step, he always takes a knock back. So a few years ago he was in Superbike, took a knock back because he got let go by the team, and then had to then go into Superstock, rebuild again, came up into Superbike last year, then had the motocross accident, so then he's taken a step back. He's just always seems to have had knockbacks in his career, but he's certainly quick enough. He showed that in flashes of brilliance last year. Like I say, at Navarra he was through into Q2. Probably would have qualified within the front 2 rows really if it wasn't for a mechanical issue that happened, or a technical issue that happened, should I say. So yeah, he's quick enough, he's fast enough. A lot of these boys, the other boys up and down the garages, certainly say that Fraser's one of the quickest out there. Just needs to have a good solid season on board, and hopefully this year that'll be the one.
Fantastic. Let's move on. Bertie, we come to the TAS Racing team, also known as Cheshire Mouldings TAS Racing.
Yeah, Cheshire Mouldings TAS Racing. Bit of a different look this year. They've gone to Ducatis for this year, so big change. They've been, with BMW for probably the last maybe 8 years, over 10 years probably. They've been associated with BMW and just made a big change for this year. So they've gone to Ducati. They've got 2 bikes in there, as you can see. One is a super bike, one is a V2 super sport bike. So they've got Rory Skinner on the super bike. Rory stays where he is for this year, and they've now got Eduardo Colombi on the super sport bike. If people who aren't aware of who Eduardo Colombi is, he literally came into the sport bike class last year as an unknown. Nobody had ever heard of him, and he nearly won the championship. He turned up at every circuit and was fastest. He went to Knockhill and blew everybody away. Completely incredible.
Having never been to any of them before?
Having never been to any of them. I think he may have seen Donington Park once, but other than that, he'd never been to any of them.
Let's talk about Rory Skinner. So here's a man who needs to do well. He's done extremely well in his career so far, but now is the stage, and we've talked about with several other riders, he's not a spring chicken anymore.
He came back into BSB after what was a nightmare year in Moto 2 Grand Prix. Probably really was a waste of a year for Rory, but if the opportunity's there, you've got to take it. Came back last year on the BMW, and as he said at Donington Park to myself when we did a bit of an interview with him, that the BMW isn't a bad bike. It's not a bad bike at all. He went out there and won at Knockhill. He was pretty quick, near enough everywhere he went. Just had a bit of just bad luck. Another one that just a bit like Fraser Rogers has just had increases in performance and then loses. A bad thing happens to him and he's just lost that edge a little bit. Whereas now Rory's come in here, fresh start for everyone, fresh start for the team. It is a completely different motorcycle, and it's like starting all over again for Rory. So he's learning. The team are experienced. Obviously, you've got Steve Plater in there as team manager. You've got a really experienced crew chief in Stuart Shenton, who's been around for years and years and years. He knows the score. He knows what to do. So yeah, down to Rory to perform now.
Are we going to expect to see him on the podium?
I would hope so. Well, you'd expect him to be up at least in the top 3 at Knockhill, so I would hope so that you would see Rory on the podium. I would hope that you would see him fighting for wins.
And do they just go to Ducati, ring up Ducati UK and say, hello, I'd like a bike, please?
I'm guessing so. I'm guessing that's how it works. And as long as you've got, £150,000 to buy it, that's probably how much a V4R is worth. It is. If anybody gets the chance to look up and close at this Cheshire Mouldings Ducati, it is factory. Like, there is so much carbon on it. It is a lovely thing to look at. Like, the engines are perfect, just everything is such a nice motorbike to look at. So it's down to Rory to perform now. He's got the kit, he's got the team, it's all down to Rory.
One of the nicest guys in the paddock as well.
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
Let's move on. Okay, next, Bertie, we've got Send My Bag Honda, ridden by Scott Swan. Tell me more about the team and the rider, please.
Right, throw me under the bus on this one. So, Send My Bag Honda is run by IWR. IWR have been around for a long, long time. In and out of the championship for a few years. Back in full superbike now, so it's run by Ian Woolacott, who is literally just behind us. Years ago, they've ran loads of different riders, so they ran Peter Hickman years ago. Tommy Bridewell is most famous for them, riding for them. People will probably remember them as Key Garage Honda, basically, from years and years ago. Now back in full superbike, so they did a couple of years in super stock with Alex Olsen, and now they're back in superbike with Scott Swan. So Scott, well, the last couple of years has been riding in the National Superstock Championship on a Honda, on his own Honda, with his own team, and nearly won the championship last year. Showed major brilliance throughout the full season. He was there all the way through it, right up until the end, and just missed out on the championship the last couple of rounds. Just results really went the wrong way of him, really. A couple of crashes here, there, and whatever. But now in the full superbike class for this year with these guys. Sole rider team, and he's impressing.
Well, yeah, you see that some of the timing sheets from the pre-season tests, and he's right up there, isn't he? I mean,
right,
you can take these things with a pinch of salt, because he might have gone out in fresh rubber and a thimble full of fuel, but...
Yeah, but like, it's probably the best time for Scott to be coming into the superbike class, really, because it's a different tyre for this year. So he's not ridden a superbike with the older spec tyres, so he's coming on it knowing no different. So he's jumping on it with no pre-experience or anything like that. It's all fresh for Scott, and to be fair, in that last session he was the top Honda. You know, that's pretty impressive for a rookie as well. This guy is a rookie in the superbike class. He's never ridden a superbike until this weekend, or until this year, should I say. So it's really, really impressive. I would like to see Scott, you would expect to see him within the top 15 each weekend, but on this performance, you'll be seeing him in the top 10 regularly, and probably pushing for podiums at this rate.
Now, how old is Scott Swan? Can we classify him as an up-and-comer, as a
definitely
star?
Yeah, well, he's younger than me and you, put it that way. I don't know how old
That's
he
not
is.
hard for me.
I don't know how old he is, but he's definitely younger than I am. But yeah, I think you can really class him as an up-and-comer. He's the son of Michael Swan, so Michael Swan used to race with James Whittam years ago, Northern Irish road racer. And Scott is a really, really lovely kid. Like, we spent a little bit of time with him with for a couple of videos that will be coming out on social media soon or throughout the year. And he's just a really lovely kid. Like, you just feel that he's in his company. He's dead relaxed. He's just one to watch this year. Definitely a rookie watch, because on the performance that we've seen this weekend down at Donington, he's coming in under the radar. And when he's up there, people are like, that's impressive. That is really impressive. Like I say, a sole one-rider team. All the focus is on him. So yeah, I expect to see Scott up there during the year.
Yes, keep your eyes on Mr. Swan. Next. We're outside the garage of the in-competition Senka Aprilia team, but Bertie, I see no Aprilias.
You've got an eagle eye on you there. So this is the in-competition Senka Aprilia team. Lewis Rollo should be riding the Aprilia at this Oulton Park test, but unfortunately he had a pretty horrific accident at Navarra, and he took a bit of a whack to his back, and I'm not sure whether if he's going to make the first round. He didn't test at Donington, he's not tested here, he's still recovering from the injuries that he got there, so I would imagine you'll probably see Lewis maybe at round 3. Pathway champion last year, and he's the first Aprilia superbike for about 14 years, something like that. It's a long time since Aprilia have properly been in the BSB Superbike Championship.
He had a really good showing, didn't he? Was it Snetterton last year in the wet?
He nearly won the race. Yeah, he finished second in the race, finished just behind Storm Stacey. It was an incredible performance really from Lewis in the wet. Surprised a lot of people last year. That the Aprilia in a pathway form was a very good package. Lewis is a very good rider, really lovely kid as well. So hopefully you see him out on track this year on the full superbike. The team I know have had to make a lot of changes to the bike to bring it into a full superbike spec for this year. The rules were that if you won the pathway class, you had to go into superbike. Whether if it was with that team or a different team, you had to go into superbike. So Lewis's hand was sort of forced into it. I don't know whether if he got offers from any other teams or not. He wanted to stay where he was with the in competition Aprilia team. And he has done. Unfortunately, just sustained that little bit of a knock at Navarra. Like I say, it remains to be seen whether if he makes. I don't imagine he'll be in round 1. Remains to be seen whether if it be at round 2 at Donington Park. You then have a big break for obviously the Isle of Man TT. So then and then I think you've got another maybe week gap after the TT is finished before we go to Snetterton. So I would imagine you'll probably definitely see Lewis back out on the bike at Snetterton. But this team, busy little outfit this year. Obviously they're running a superbike with Lewis. They've got at least 2 super sport bikes, so they've got Freddie Barnes and they've also got Lee Johnston in there on his Triumph, both on 765s, and they've also got a British Talent Cup bike as well. So Freddie's brother, I think it's Charlie Barnes. But yeah, coming back to Lewis, we'll focus on the superbike. Hopefully you see him perform this year. Hopefully we see him back soon.
Good. We wish you a speedy recovery. Next. Bertie, over my shoulder is the Bathams AJN Racing BMW of Storm Stacey, looking a bit resplendent. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely looking motorbike. So everybody will know this team. It's Michael Rutter's team. So Michael's been running this for a number of years now with the support of, he's literally just off camera there, yeah. With support from Bathams for many, many years. They've been big backers of him. And then when it was sort of announced or made aware that Storm wasn't going to be staying where he's previously been, he went straight on the phone, got on the phone to Michael. Michael offered him a ride with his team. Nice to see, Storm. I think Storm needed that change. Basically, he'd had 5 or 6 years with the GR Motorsport guys. They weren't running in Superbike anymore. They've gone off to do other things in the World Paddock, in the World Women's Racing Series. So Storm's now moved into this team. Sole rider on a BMW, and he's absolutely loving it. Like, it's nice to see him with such a smile on his face. Everybody knows how happy of a lad Storm is. Like, he's full of life, full of fun. So to see him up there, yesterday he was 6th quickest. He's just chipping away. It's a brand new bike for him. He's never ridden a BMW before, so it's all new to him. So he's just learning a lot, and he's got the best man in the paddock for that, to learn from him, Michael Rutter. He's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, thrown it away, and got another one. So for me, Storm's in a perfect place here, and I'm pretty confident you're going to be seeing a lot of this BMW during 2025.
The perfect Storm. He, of course, is still young, having had he's been in around the BSB paddock since he was 16, 17 years old, doesn't he?
Oh, ridiculous! I think
so. Experienced, yet still with youth on his side.
Yeah, Storm's the youngest ever race winner in this paddock. I think he was like 13 or something like 12, 13 when he won his first race in the Motorstar class of what it was, and it was his birthday on Wednesday this week when we're filming this for the last test. He's 22 years old. Like, it's mental to think about it, that he's been riding a superbike for that long, and he's still only 22 years of age. So he's got a lot of experience already on his side, but he's still got a lot of learning and growing to do in this class, and he's the best man for that job, really, to help him along the way.
And you caught up with Storm, didn't you, earlier on today? Let's go and see what he had to say.
So Storm, new team, new colours for 2025, big smile on your face. How much are you looking forward to this season with Michael Rutter and Bathams BMW?
Yeah, it's all an exciting project. It's hard because everyone, I just said to Dave Neal then that everyone yesterday was probably testing and trying a few bits. I got quite comfortable with the bike yesterday and we kind of did quite a good time. Whereas today we're probably going the opposite way and we're going to test a lot of stuff today. So if you don't see us near the top, you probably know why. But if you do, then something's going really well. So today's just going to be all about testing and trying things, because new team, new bike, everything, new bike for me, we've got so much to test and so much to try, because I do feel comfortable with the bike now, but there's more stuff we can try.
I did ask you yesterday, but how much of a change has it been for you jumping off a Kawasaki onto a BMW? How much have you had to adapt?
Not massively had to adapt, because I rode the Kawasaki in a way that really worked like the BMW does. I used to stop and start the Kawasaki quite a lot, so I could get on the gas earlier than most people to get a run on them, to get a good run down the straight. So to ride the BMW, I'm kind of riding it the same, but not having to do as much as I used to do on the Kawasaki. Where we're struggling at the minute is corner entry. The Kawasaki, I could get away with murder going into corners, whereas this, I'm kind of hanging on to the front end a bit at the minute.
How are you feeling ahead of the season though? Obviously after the amount of time that you've had on it in Navarra, Donington and then here, you feeling confident?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Donington was a bit of a struggle for us, but I think it'll all come good by the time we're racing there. But I'm definitely looking forward to racing here, because even when I'm behind people, it feels pretty easy. It's quite nice, and a lot of people haven't been happy with the BMW over a couple of years in superbike trim, but I can't knock it so far.
Well, spot on, Storm. I better let you go because you're out on track in about 10 minutes. But
that'll be ideal.
Good luck in 2025.
Thank you.
Bertie, this is DAO Racing, and they've got a two-rider team this year.
Yeah,
they've got Hondas.
They have, yeah.
They've got two new riders.
Big change now for DAO Racing this year. So obviously last year they were a two-man superbike team. So they had Braden Elliott and Danny Buchan. They were the official Kawasaki supported team. Whereas this year it's all changed. So they've got two new riders and new bikes. So they've moved to Honda for this year. Basically these bikes are the bikes of Andy Irwin and Tommy Bridewell from last year, more or less, with just a few tweaks, few differences. And they've got the two new riders in Lee Jackson and Josh Brooks. So Lee moves across from the MasterMac Honda team, and Josh moves over from FHO, what was it, of FHO. And seeming so far to be going pretty well. Josh had a bit of an off in Navarra, but they've had a lot of testing. So they did I think they did 5 days out in Spain on an unofficial Honda test. So they did a long time out in Monte Blanco, went from Monte Blanco to Navarra. So they've done a lot of days so far, but it's all new for all the team and also for Josh as well. Josh hasn't ridden on a Honda since 2009, 10, something like that, since he was with Honda Racing. So when he was with the Tag Boys, he was on a Yamaha. So it's been a long time for Josh since he's been on a Honda. So it's all new to him, all new to the team. I would be surprised if you don't see Josh and Lee vying for podiums all throughout the year. You know.
Okay, Lee Jackson and Josh Brooks are very experienced. I mean, there's not many more experienced than Josh, but does a team then have to take a lot of time to familiarise themselves with a Honda?
Yeah. So it's all new to everybody. Just like the way that, like even back at the workshop, just things like just building the bikes, it's all different. Like everything is different compared to a Kawasaki. So obviously, starting from a fresh is what you are. You're starting from a complete fresh. It's a big outlay in terms of finance, but it's also a big outlay in terms of time. And I think there's the experience that Josh has in there will help them speed the job along. And also there's Lee as well. Lee's obviously had experience on this form of Honda. I'll see if we can grab the crew chief Ben for a quick word. So he's built these bikes. So Ben, obviously big change for this year for 2025. Obviously moving to Honda. Just how much effort has gone in behind the scenes at the team? You've done most of the work, I know, at the workshop. You love to work 24 hours a day, and you put a lot of effort into this. But just how much of an effort has gone into moving to Honda for this year?
There isn't one thing we've carried over from the old bike. Everything is new or changed or works differently. So getting your base setup sort of built is hard enough, but then to understand what's going on with everything that you've built, and then test to test, changing again to suit the rider. Like rider setups aren't very similar where we've got to now. We've started from a complete blank canvas, as in we've had no starting reference point. Both lads have got really good feel. They both know what they want out of a motorbike, so they've been a good help to us. But even if you're winning, I think you can find something better. To be the sort of pace that we've got, or the pace we've had since the British tests mainly, and everything that we're learning going forward, it's just getting better and better, really.
how easy has it been to have Josh and Lee on there? Because obviously you've got the experience in Josh, double British Superbike champion. You've got Lee, who's ridden a Honda before. So having those two boys surely has helped the process along, because, like you say, they know what they want from a bike, and Lee knows exactly how a Honda should feel from last year.
Lee is sort of, he knows what he's looking for in terms of a feeling, but at the same time we always want to keep making a step forward as well. So I think both boys are happy enough at a race pace. Our side with Josh is very much knows what he wants. He's very good at steering the direction of a feeling. Some of the ways we've been aren't necessarily a way that would be normal, looks normal, but the lap time's coming and everyone's happy, so we're in a good place.
And just quickly, there's a new tyre for this year, so it's a bit, I'm calling it a hybrid. It's slightly in between an SCX and an SC0. From a crew chief's perspective, how much has that changed the way that you have to work now? Because obviously you had loads of data, albeit not for the Hondas, but you had loads of data on a different tyre. Just how different is it?
Just an understanding, really. So I don't think the conditions were ideal when we tried it at Donington. We opted to not use it in Spain. We thought we'll just use it when we need to. The overall feedback is good. It's very good. I know everyone was struggling with a similar sort of issue at Donington, but I do think it was mainly probably conditions based. We worked at it a little bit while we were there to try and make the second exit a little bit more forgiving, but I think it's definitely better. And like for our side, it's just understanding what smaller adjustments, if any, we need to make to suit.
Spot on. Well, Ben, I better let you get back, because you've only got an hour before you get back out on track, and it's the last two sessions of the day before season starts next weekend. But by its luck, Min, I know you put a lot of effort in for this year, so you should be proud of yourself. Good luck for this year.
No, thank you very much.
Cheers.
But we move to the Wycliffe CDH Racing outfit. Now, it's a two-man team, isn't it?
It is for this year, yep. So they've got retained Luke Hedger, so Luke Hedger's in there, and they've also got a young lad called Jamie Davis. They've moved to Honda for this year, so the last few years since they've been in Superbike, they've been on Kawasaki's. They've now moved to Honda. Feels like everybody near enough on this pit lane has moved to Honda this year. Nice to see that team. These guys are actually based about 300 feet from my front door. So as I went for a walk the other day and saw their race truck pretty packed up to come here. So a local team to me. Big change for these guys, like I say, moving to Honda. Complete infrastructural change, which is massive for any team, let alone a small privateer-based team like these guys. Luke did all right last year in his first full season in Superbike. Had a good showing. Now he's got a Superbike package with a Honda, with a little bit more power. It's newer, it's fresher. You'll probably see him up there, and Jamie comes in as a complete rookie. Now, Jamie was supposed to be on a pathway bike. He was announced as a pathway rider. However, when you take a look around the bike that Jamie's riding, it doesn't resemble a pathway bike. So it's got a Superbike front end, but it's got Superbike forks and Superbike brakes. Now, in pathway, you're allowed Superbike brakes, but not the forks. And you were supposed to run a standard swing arm. Well, that's got a factory suitor swing arm in it now. So I'm guessing Jamie is running a fully blown Superbike. He's actually been really impressive. Now, you would expect a rookie who's never ridden a Superbike before to come in and just slowly, build. You wouldn't expect to see him at the top of the timesheets. However, at Navarra, flipping heck, he was quickest in Sector 2. Like, he was quicker than Tommy Bridewell, and that's impressive. So yeah, expect not a lot from Jamie, but be pleasantly surprised if you see him in the top 15. And again, the same for Luke. Expect him to be in the top 15.
Tell me, why do so many people end up with Hondas? Is it that all-around package? Have they got the performance, reliability, and to a degree price? Right?
Yeah, I think you're right on all degrees of that one. But also, I think the support from Honda Racing as well. I know that when you do sign or when you do agree to run a Honda, Honda will help you in terms of base maps, in terms of setup, in terms of settings. If on a race weekend you need support from their data engineers or whichever, you can go and ask them. You can go and talk to them. They're very open. They'll help you. So I think that helps. I think that's a big thing for them. But also, I think, like you just say, it's a package all round that works. It's got the power. It's got the feel. Everybody seems to do all right when it wants to get in there. Tommy proved last year that it can win races and it can battle for the championship. it's impressive to see so many Hondas out there. Especially maybe 4 years ago, they were only the factory outfit that ran Hondas. Nobody touched them, so it's nice to see the wings back in the championship.
Yes, incredible how things turn around.
Yeah.
There's two more teams to talk about. They're behind us here. We've got MP Racing and then the new squad, MLAV.
Yeah, so if we start with MP Racing, so they were a team last year. They've again moved to Honda this year. They were a team on Kawasaki's. This is a fully privateer outfit. There's no factory backing. There's no real big sponsor. It's proper grassroots level this, and they've got Blaze Baker in there who's riding their superbike this year. He's a rookie in this class. Blaze has ridden in the Ducati Tri-Options Cup a few years ago. He also rode in the Super Sport Classic seasons ago, and he's a full rookie in superbike this year. It's going to take him time to get used to the bike, to get used to superbike as a whole. I would imagine towards the end of the year, if he's pushing for points, he'll be happy with that. He's got a lot to learn, so with the team. It's a brand new bike. It's brand new for them all, really. So hopefully, you'll see Blaze pushing towards the points, towards the middle, towards the end of the year.
And MLAV Racing is next door to them.
Yeah, so we talk about 810 Racing being up against it. They're even more up against it. They only got announced as a team like 3 weeks ago. I think Stuart Higgs announced it at the Qatar Grand Prix live on TNT that they were coming into BSB. So basically what's happened there is Richard Kerr has got the superbike ride. So if you can see in there, you might not be able to see it at the minute, but you will do later on. That is Leon Haslam's superbike from last year, BMW, so they're running BMWs for this year. And they're also going to be running, I'm going to have to pronounce this right, Ilya Mikulchek, I think is how you pronounce it. He was supposed to be riding for FHO. Obviously, Faye has pulled out of BSB for this season, so Ilya was left without a ride. He has now been picked up by MLAV. He's going to be running in Superstock on a BMW M1000 RR. And you might be able to see behind my shoulder, but they've also got Ian Hutchinson in that garage, and also Mike Brown. So that's going to be their team for the Isle of Man TT and the Northwest 200 road races this year. So they're going to have Mike Brown and Hutchie riding on them. But it's nice to see Richard in there, obviously a former National Superstock 1000 champion. It's nice to see him in Superbike. A building year for him, rookie year. He did have a couple of rounds towards the end of last year with the IWR semi-bag Honda team on a pathway bike. Had a few good results. But obviously, this is a fully blown superbike. This is completely different to what he's known before. Yeah, again, if you see him in the points consistently throughout the year, that's a good season for Richard. And if you see him in the top 10, then that's a brilliant result.
Promises to be a very exciting year for every single team and every single rider along this pit lane.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I'm just the same as you. I'm absolutely buzzing for this season. I can't wait.
There it is, Bertie. We've got 33 races, 11 rounds over the next 6 months. It is guaranteed excitement.
Yeah, definitely. I like Stuart was alluding to earlier, it's really exciting. You've got ex-champions coming back. You've got the current champion staying where he is on the same bike. You've got Tommy Bridewell determined as ever to regain that number one. You've got Glenn Irwin desperate to win his first championship. Leon Haslam back on a Ducati. Danny Kent coming into form at the end of last season, carrying it on into this season. It's just ultra exciting, uber exciting, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
We could almost list every single name on that team sheet, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But before we get into the inevitably poor predictions from both of us,
I think I did quite well last year. I think I'll find if you revert back to it.
But before we do that, let's just talk about Bike Social members.
Yep.
What kind of VIP experiences they can expect.
Yeah, so basically they can expect the same as what they've expected over the last 6-7 seasons we've been doing this. So obviously you get VIP hospitality, the chance to do safety car laps, pillion laps, VIP pit tours, walking down there, standing on where we stood for the intro up at the top of the podium for races for the exclusive viewing areas. You can literally get as close to the action as possible without physically sitting on the back of a superbike for a session. It's literally that close you can get, and simply all you've got to do is just enter the competitions. you've got to be in it to win it. If you don't enter, you know, you can't experience all of this. But even if you don't win the competitions, we will be at every single round. We will have our dome set up or our garage set up like we sometimes do at Donington and at Brands as well. So literally come and see us. We will have things that people can do, you know, pit perch, different things like that. There's loads of things that you can do, and it gets you closer than ever before.
And of course, Bike Social membership is open to all those who insure their bikes directly with Bennetts. It's free. Bike Social membership is free, and you get access to over 200 different kind of deals and experiences and competitions and such like. Tell me, Michael, who's going to win the championship this year? Lay your hat down.
Lay my hat down. Okay. Am I going top 3 or just the
Yes.
winner? Top 3. So top 3. I'm going to say Danny Kent is going to be in the top 3. I'm also going to say Tommy Bridewell, and I am going to say Bradley Ray. I am fairly confident Bradley Ray is going to come out of this season as the champion. What about yourself?
Well, I'm going to chicken out and just go with Ray, Ryde and Irwin.
Well.
Because, look, they've shown form, haven't they, in the last
Yep.
couple of tests, and they've got experience, and they're riding bikes that they're familiar with. So yeah, but as we always say,
It could be one
anyone.
of 12.
And
It could have Leon Haslam, and I'm pretty sure if Tommy Bridewell watches this, he probably won't, but if he does, he's going to shout and swear at me because I've not said him. There is so many people. It's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be the hottest contested season we've ever had in BSB, Bennetts BSB.
Brilliant stuff, Mr. B. Thank you for your insight.
Thank
it has
you as
been
well.
Incredible as always, and thank you for your patience. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to come and find us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group there. It's called Bennetts Bike Social. Of course, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and don't forget to find us. Also, we have our own sort of community platform called Bike Club. Come and find us there. Thanks again. See you next time.
So, we are here with Michael Burton today. How do you think today's going to go, Michael?
Well, hopefully really well, because I need to get this done by 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So this is why we're doing this now.
All right.
So I don't have to pester you later.
All right, stop talking,
Are we
Michael.
ready?